I wanted to see if there was a break between the Katsukana. There was not between the Katsukana and on the Shamru. I decided I was going to.
All right, let me go.
Hi, Gina. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Peace is a word of the sea. Peace is the word. Can you hit an E minor chord? That's it. And that's twice through. And the rabbi will do the rest of it. I told her. I told her, so it's good. Yeah, it's good.
Wait, do you really, is this what you want to show as we start the service?
We're live, by the way.
Yeah, we're live and we're going to start recording.
Yeah.
Noah? Is this what you want to show for this? Yeah, there you go. All right, I'm going to start recording. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And those who are coming in, please come to the front. We're trying to make this look cozy for everybody because we're trying to encourage those who are at home to come in. It's a very cozy, nice little group of people. Please sit towards the front. Don't sit in the back because I feel like I'm very lonely up here without people.
I'm up here.
What's that?
I'm up here.
You're up here. That's true. All right, so you have a song sheet with a bunch of songs. The first song, and those of you at home, there was a PDF that was sent out, so hopefully you were able to print that out. Otherwise, just listen. We're observing the final day of Passover. So One Small Step by Perry Smilo talks about Nachshon, who went into the water, and it finally split. That was the Sea of Reeds when the Israelites were leaving Egypt.
Nachshon ben Aminadav was just one face in the crowd. He was tired and he was hungry, scared but he was proud. He had walked across the desert to escape slavery, and now he's caught between his taskmasters and the waters of the Red Sea. Pharaoh and his army were coming up fast from behind, and the Israelites were arguing. They were of two minds. Some said, we should turn around, go back to what we know. Slavery can't be half as bad as drowning. You gotta take one small step. One small step, you gotta take one small step for freedom. You gotta take one small step. One small step, you gotta take one small step for freedom. The other side, well, they were very few, said, no, this cannot be. We can't go back, we've come so far in fleeing slavery. If you just stay put, I think you'll find that God will make a move and a miracle will save us all. Just wait. You gotta take one small step. One small step. You gotta take one small step for freedom. You gotta take one small step. One small step. You gotta take one small step for freedom. No one noticed Nachshon over by the rippling tide. He had one foot in the water, his shoes at his side. He took one step, then another, till he could barely breathe. And just when the world went dark, the waters parted and we were free. 'Cause he took one small step. One small step, you gotta take one small step for freedom. You gotta take one small step. One small step, you gotta take one small step for freedom. All right.
One step at a time. Paula Herman is going to light our candles for Shabbat and Yom Tov, and page 120 on the big book and 2 in the little one. The first light. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Yom Tov.
Shabbat.
Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you. The Kiddush is page 123 and 5, although it is slightly different for Yom Tov. Oh, sorry, there's a glass. And I turn that off.
Okay, we're back. All right, this is all very different. The first part's the same. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol aham veromanu mikol lashon v'kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'titein lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava Shabbatot limnucha umodim lesimcha hagim uzmanim lesason et yom hashabbat hazeh ve'et yom hag hamatzot hazeh zeman hirutenu mikrai kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat umoadei kodechecha v'haba uratzon v'shimacha usason hinkaltanu baruch atah Adonai v'kadesh hashabbat ve'Yisrael ve'hazmanim. I think.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. So it is the last day of Passover, and we're supposed to read from the book of Exodus, and Deuteronomy. And Rabbi Elazar said, "Behold, I'm like a man of 70 years, and yet I never merited to understand why the Exodus story should be told at night until Ben Zoma explained the verse from Deuteronomy. In order that you remember you're going out of Egypt all the days of your life. All the days of your life means also the nights. But the sages say the days of your life refers to your days in this world. All the days of your life means also in the Messianic age. Zohar Atkins explained this. The sages of B'nai Barak believe that even when the Messiah comes, we will have a Seder night. Perhaps then the angels will join us in beating one another with scallions, which is some practice that we don't do here. You're supposed to beat each other with scallions. And they will join us in searching for the Afikomen, in singing Chad Gad Yah. Everything will be the same, just a little different. The gap between our current moment and the Messianic ideal is infinitesimally, imperceptibly small. So liberation and where we are now, tiny little step, just like Nachshon took. But Say Israel is part of Hallel, which we sing during Passover, as we left Egypt. And that is also on your song sheet.
בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם לועז. בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם לועז. איתה יהודה לקודשו, ישראל ממשלותיו. הים רעב ינוס, הירדן ייסוב לאחור. בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם לועז. בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם לועז. איתה יהודה לקודשו, ישראל ממשלותיו. הים רעב ינוס, הירדן ייסוב לאחור. בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם לועז. בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם לועז.
So why is there such a small difference between the world as we know it today and the world to come? Well, it comes down to the definition of freedom. As Zohar Atkins explains, at the end of the Seder, when we open the door for Elijah and sing songs at the conclusion of the Seder, we open ourselves to greater yearning. We hope for redemption. We don't rest on the laurels of our newly achieved freedom. If anything, we demonstrate our freedom by intensifying our longing. Freedom does not mean complacency. It doesn't mean comfort or homeostasis. Freedom means cultivating passion for a better world, a redeemed world. The paradox that freedom means more yearning, not achievement, is evident in the sages' view that even when the Messiah comes, we will need to remember the Exodus story, that part of what it means to be redeemed is not to expurgate our weakness, but to transform it. Redemption means more vulnerability, not less. Strength is the ability to say, I was a slave. So in a sense, redemption is a continuous process requiring ever-increasing moments of transformation. So we're redeemed not one time, but continuously. As someone said, the Exodus happens all the time. And every moment that we redeem ourselves, there's yet a yearning for more redemption. And it's step by step that we do it. The Chatzi Kaddish is page 263 and 145.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה ועלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בקייחון וביום איכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך ועלל עולמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה אלא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דארן בעלמה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
And we rise for the Baruch Hu, which is on page 264 and 146.
Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, Baruch Hu et Adonai. המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך, לעולם ועד, לעולם, 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 לעולם. Vaed, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la. Ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la.
Please be seated. As you may know, yesterday was Earth Day, and this is a Pesach prayer for the earth by Rachel Barenblatt, Rabbi. She goes by the name of the Velveteen Rabbi. Each life contains constriction and release, times when the tight squeeze of circumstance pins us in place. The salty waters of grief threaten to wash us away, and other times when the vice grip clamped around our hearts releases and breathing comes easy. When the touch of a staff transforms bitter waters to sweet, the contractions of birthing ourselves into what comes next, of moving ourselves through the open doorway marked with blood, can hurt so much we think we can't get through. But we can get through. On the far side, open waters sparkle, far as eyes can see. The earth on which we live knows hard times too. Strip mines like open gashes in her skin the air which cushions her against cold space, soured with acid and with rancid smoke. Her changes unfold in geologic time, our centuries of industry a single breath, drawn in growing awareness of her pain. Can we begin to midwife her contractions as she watches over ours? What would it mean to murmur words of love, to wipe her brow? Each birth marks transformation, not only for the one emerging through the narrow place, but for the place herself. God's in this place. Let us not claim that we see. We did not know. We know. Her presence illumines from the highest peaks to the lowest undersea trenches in the deep. Our planet cries out to us in her hard labors. Help us to soften our hearts, resolve to be cruel taskmasters no more, to set her free. Please come forward. We're trying to be cozy here. Please take a prayer book and come forward. And it's really good to see you both again. You do need a prayer book. If you don't have one, great. And I know the Hermans are making sure that we're safe. Oh, by the way, I should mention, even though I shouldn't interrupt in the middle of this, but we need to get out of here. There's a door here. You can go through my office, and there's a door here and there in the back next to the tech equipment. Don't go down there and get out. Okay, just in case we need it. But the Hermans are keeping us safe, right? Thank you. We continue with Ahavat Olam, page 266 in the fat book and 148 in the thinner book.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amecha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shokvenu u'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nizmak b'divrei toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu Ubahem nege yomam balayla, nege yomam balayla. Ve'ahavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim. Baruch ata Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Ohev amo Yisrael.
We rise for the Shema, and it's on your song sheet. It's a slightly different version of the Shema, a young woman that we found on the internet, and hope you enjoy it.
I won't tell you that God loves me. I won't tell you that God saved my life. But I can say as loud and clear as I can sing from my lips to your ears that there's one of our God in every one of our lives, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And that's why we sing. I won't tell you God controls my life. I won't tell you that to have God's love would be my everlasting plight, but I can say as loud and clear as I can sing from my lips to your ears that there's one of our God, our Ner Tamid, our everlasting light. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated except for Carol Lee, who's going to lead us in the Ve'ahavta, which is on page 268 and 150.
Nice to see everyone. Please join me. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kuvecha uv'kshartam le'od al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha laman tiskaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kadoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
The true treasure, Carol Lee. This is called Seventh Day Water. So we're just completing the seventh day of Passover, and it's by Rabbi Sonia Piltz. I'm drawing water from wells, from rivers, from the sea. The Mediterranean has always been my puddle on the planet. However, stories take winding ways. This one leads from the Nile, the Yaor, to a salty section of the Red Sea. We wander with and without amazement, our feet still muddy, our mouths and the water overflowing with song. Then we cross again, the Jordan, wild or boring, a narrow watershed in the north of our home, leading into the salty bitterness of smooth and oily, deadly waters. We remember the soft and healing palms of the woman that brought us water and a sense of joyous abundance in the midst of despair. We love to listen to her voice only when singing. We draw waters from the springs at the foot of the walls to remember fertile waters, to remember fury seas, to remember the borders that were rivers, the water that quenched our thirst. We pour water to remember the woman, to remember the ritual, to remember you. I am pouring water, cup after cup, into the Atlantic Pacific, but not to be home, but instead to continue the journey. Where will fresh water be? Michamocha, the song we sang after liberation. Page 270 and 152.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
This is called The Afflicted Matzah by Trisha Arlen. The top matzah and bottom matzah are, it is said, Pesach substitutes for the 2 loaves of challah on Shabbat, supposedly a reminder of the 2 portions of manna they received in the desert every Friday before Shabbat. But the middle matzah, that one's for the Seder. We break it in half and call it the bread of affliction, just like the unleavened bread we ate as we fled slavery. Matzah number 2, the afflicted matzah. We break it in half and separate ourselves from joy, so we don't forget the pain that has been ours. We break it in half and separate ourselves from the joy so we can remember the pain of others. All this pain lives in this first half of the afflicted matzah, and we eat this half now, so that we do not forget that we were slaves, so that we do not enslave others. But we separate the second half of the afflicted matzah, the afikomen, from all that hurt, so that we don't forget the joy that can follow the sorrow, so that we don't forget the times that we change things for the better. And after the meal, we will search for that happiness, and we will find it. And then we eat the afikomen together, so we don't forget that it is good to be alive, and we're obligated to share that joy. Blessed oneness, we are so grateful for the obligations to remember pain and to share joy. Amen. V'shamru, a joyous occasion, Shabbat, page 272 and 154.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובן בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני, את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Hello. Yeah, before we continue with the Amidah, I saw a couple things on chat that people are having a hard time hearing. Are you guys okay? Can you put a thumbs up if you can hear okay? Okay, so I think maybe somebody's, oh, Regina, it's better now? Good, okay, all right, just want to make sure. All right, we continue with the Amidah, the Tefillah, which is a standing prayer, page 273 and 155, and we rise.
Adonai Sefatai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai Sefatai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagebor ve'Hanora El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim ve'Koneh Hakol ve'Zocher Hasdei Avot ve'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל, אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל גדול ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים כל יום יהללו הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please continue silently to page 280, and then when you're done, you may be seated, or you may be seated before then.
Is it really? Yeah, she's alone. Real both our lives together. They've seen it. There's some new stuff. Yeah, new stuff. She's not watching it. Her microphone is not. Whose microphone? This is just yours. Yeah.
Okay, we continue with peace and end, which is on your handout.
Peace is a word of the sea and the wind. Peace is a bird who sings as you smile. Peace is the love of a foe as a friend. Peace is the love you bring to a child. Searching for me. You look everywhere except beside you. Searching for you. You look everywhere but not inside you. Peace is a stream from the heart of a man. Peace is a man whose breath is the dawn. Peace is a dawn a day without end. Peace is the end, like death of the war.
Okay, I've changed microphones. Is that better, folks? Yes, okay. We are now in the midst of counting the omer being the measure of barley that used to be brought to the temple in the period between the second day of Passover and Shavuot. And so we count the omer every day. And if you want to follow along, page 570 and 278.
Hineni mukhan umazuman, 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 hineni mukhan umazuman.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat haomer. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has sanctified us with commandments and commanded us concerning the counting of the omer. Hayam shiv'a yamim shehem shavua echad laomer. Today is 7 days, which is 1 week of the omer. We now take a moment to think of those in need of healing, whether of body, of mind, or of spirit. We think of congregants and friends and family of congregants, Jonathan Davidson, Ben Henderson, Kara Gilman, Rabbi Steve Robbins, Gloria Mangus, Leslie Ferris, Pamela Mangus, Johnny Sikat, Larry Miller, Martha Miller, Judy Richmond, Fernando Guerrero, Margie Aiken, Gary Droutman, Eileen Pritchard, Ann Craven, Marvin Young, Howard Rubin. If anyone would like to add a name in this room, please do so as I look around. And on Zoom, Judy Cohen, Eleanor Gailey, Therese Spellman, Robin Kurland, Patty Podnar, Sandra and Jess Landis, Ruth Barrett, Ron Brazil and Ron Jones, Leo Hill, and we think of those in Ukraine who are suffering from a horrible, horrible war. Please join us. The Misha Berach is here on the handout, Todd Herzog's Prayer for Healing.
Sing after me. Dear God of our ancestors, dear God of our ancestors, help us renew our faith, help us renew our faith. Grant us a perfect healing, grant us a perfect healing. Bring peace to all our days. El na repana la repana la nu. El na repana la repana la nu. Restore our strength of body. Help clarify our minds. refresh our tired spirits, rejuvenate our light. El na refana la nu. El na refana la nu. Thank you for all these blessings throughout our days and nights. We celebrate the journey, this precious gift of life. El na refana la nu. El na refana la nu. El na refana la nu. One last time. El na refana la nu.
So we count the Omer for 7 weeks. 7 times 7 is 49. They love the number 7 in Judaism. And that leads us from the Exodus to Shavuot, the day we get the Torah. In Jewish mystical tradition, we associate each week of the Omer with one of 7 qualities, or midot, of the divine. Each of these sacred qualities is present in the world and in each of us. We're each endowed with them, and that reflects our being created in God's image. As Rabbi Mark Margulies of the Institute of Jewish Spirituality explains, each quality represents a pool of sacred energy, which can deepen our awareness of the divine presence, and by which we can make that presence manifest through our actions. This is what I love about Judaism. It's not about how we feel. It's about what we do with it. We can have all sorts of wonderful feelings, but until we manifest them in the world, what's the point? As we make our way week by week, counting the Omer and focusing on one of these qualities, Margulies suggests we think of this practice like a kayak navigating currents of these 7 midot. The first week of the Omer, which we're just completing, we focus on the quality of chesed, or loving kindness. And Margulies translates chesed also as loving connection. We begin our journey in the current of love, streaming through and around us, informing all the midot we will encounter downstream in the weeks ahead. He continues, chesed, or loving connection, enables us to experience ourselves as immersed in an infinite, unbounded, luminous flow of unconditionally loving divine energy, a flow which surrounds, suffuses, and connects everyone and everything. As beings created in the divine image, this chesed energy is always coursing through us. In every moment, we can choose to facilitate or to impede this uninterrupted flow of chesed, which the psalmist described as the very foundation of existence itself. Ki amarti olam chesed yibaneh, shamayim tachin emunatecha vahem. I declare your steadfast love is confirmed forever. There in the heavens, you establish your faithfulness. We can experience the presence of chesed in our daily lives when we notice our instinct to connect the dots, when we seek to relate, to connect, to know, and to be known by others. We can experience chesed when we seek to make sense of our lives, when our mind weaves a coherent narrative out of the disparate elements of our experience. We can experience chesed when we notice our inclination to suspend judgment even for just a moment, because judgment disconnects us from ourselves and others. When we're inclined to forgive rather than to be resentful, to look for the good rather than to assume the worst. We can experience chesed when we notice our tendency to repair what is broken, to restore connection. We can experience chesed every time we breathe, receiving each in-breath as a gift given freely by the whole universe, and releasing each out-breath as a gift given to the universe in return. We can set an intention to love the quality of chesed in our lives, to follow the stream rather than to resist it. In Sim Shalom, grant us peace, which is the final blessing of the morning Amidah, we ask to be blessed with ahavat chesed, love of chesed. The prophet Micah employs this very phrase in his best-known teaching. God has told you, mortal, what is good and what the Holy One seeks from you, only to do justice, to love chesed, ahavat chesed, and walk humbly with your God. May we cultivate awareness of the chesed energy field in which we exist. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, the founder of the Musar movement, reminds us of why chesed is so important. He says most people are concerned about their own material needs and another person's spirituality, and it should be the other way around. A person is obligated to be concerned with their own spirituality and the material well-being of others. The material needs of my neighbor are my spiritual need. I love that sentence. I'm going to say it again. The material needs of my neighbor are my spiritual need. Alan Morinis, founder of the Musar Institute, expands on this idea. Acts of chesed are a central feature of every aspect of Jewish thought, practice, and observance. But, he says, if I'm honest with myself, I have to admit that had wise people not written about chesed and had not made it clear how and why it is important to be kind, and even beyond that, to love loving kindness, I would never have come up with those ideas on my own. Never. Life appears to me to be so much more obviously a rat race, a competition, a limited pie. The tight interweaving of the golden thread of chesed into Jewish thought and practice is reason enough to believe that our tradition embodies divine revelation. Even if the ideas came through the mouths of people, they had to have originated on a higher plane because it is so unlikely that a human being could realize the profound importance of kindness on their own. It's a little cynical, but chesed involves stretching beyond your current comfort zone to be a source of benevolence to others. It guides our behavior in ways we might not have chosen if we allow ourselves to be guided only by our own inclination and our own feelings as they currently steer us. And this is how we grow. So let us conclude with a prayer by Mark Margulies. May we bring compassionate attention to moments when we feel closed, shut down, disconnected, or constricted. In such moments, may we remember to notice, breathe in, and absorb the chesed which is ever present. And may we open and expand our minds, hearts, and bodies, that what we might become better conduits through which that redemptive energy can flow through us to others and to our planet. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be so for us and for all beings. And now I'd like to invite Jory Yarmoff, who does so many things for our temple, one of which is to be on our board, another of which is to be the head of the vision committee, another of which is to be the head of our Cantor search committee, another of which is to be a musician. So Jory.
I could see Lynn, she's not smiling when she hears all that. So Shabbat Shalom, Chag Pesach Sameach. On behalf of the board, I have a couple of small announcements to make. First of all, this coming Wednesday, April 27th at 5 p.m., there's going to be a screening of a movie called I Danced for the Angel of Death, the Edith Eva Eger story. At the age of 16, Edith Eger was sent to Auschwitz. Hours after her parents were killed, Nazi officer Dr. Joseph Mengele forced her to dance for his amusement, and this ended up saving her life. Following the screening, we will offer a meaningful service, and I believe this will be a hybrid event. Yeah. Also for the Own Eggs, I want to thank everybody. We've received enough sponsors to hold Own Eggs through the end of June. Additional sponsorships received at this time will be applied to the fall. So we want to thank everybody who donated or signed up to sponsor an Own Egg. And I don't know if this has been made news yet, but we're considering having Own Eggs during the summer this year. We're definitely having. Okay, so we will be having Own Eggs during the summer, a new tradition for us. So hope to see everyone during the summer services. Any other announcements? Okay, I bring the microphone.
I have two announcements. One of them, Jory is involved in. On May 6th at Children's Services, that's at 6:30, Jory and Morris and Noah, and also 3 other young people and Eric Sabar are going to play music, klezmer music, for the service. So everybody come. It's nice to have everybody in this lovely sanctuary, nice and cozy.
And can I add the fact that this is also a service to honor our graduating seniors and our religious school and everybody involved in training children, including you. Yeah.
So everybody come. All of you up there, please come. The second thing is the Bagel and Lox Brunch, which is going to be Sunday, May 22nd. We're going to be eating outside. There'll be a little bit of inside picking up things, but it'll be wonderful. We'll have our auction and all the stuff that we normally have. And it'll be a wonderful community event. So please get your tickets and come to that. And thank you, Jory.
All right, regarding the Own Eggs over the summer, the decision was to make them potluck. So if nobody brings anything, there won't be an Own Egg. So bring something. Okay, that's all.
Thank you. I forgot about that detail. Okay. Any other announcements? Oh, it was said is the summer Own Eggs are going to be potluck. So we're going to be bringing things. Right.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jory, and thank you, Morris, because there's a COVID clinic happening here tomorrow as well. And I think that even if you haven't already made an appointment, you can still come and get, it starts at 10 to 11 to 7. So you can come here and get your shots, your boosters, whatever you need to get. So Pfizer and Moderna. I was told it's a good idea to mix them up. I don't know. I didn't do that. But so yes, please feel free to come, even if you haven't already signed up. Okay. So as far as Own Eggs, first of all, thank you, Wendy. Wendy's has become Eileen. Eileen, I hope you don't mind. Yes. Your legacy lives on. Okay. So Wendy is the one who sets up the Own Eggs. She shops for stuff and cleans up and does everything. So we're very grateful for that. This summer, we will send out an announcement about this, but the services are going to be at 7. We're trying something new. We'll see how it goes. There's never a good time, right? Okay, it's too early, too late, whatever. All right, but we're going to try 7 o'clock this summer, starting in July. So July and August, 7 o'clock. The Own Eggs will be potluck. So again, as Wendy said, if you don't bring anything, oh well, I guess we'll have water. Hopefully at some point, maybe in August, we'll do a dinner as well, an outdoor dinner, because we had a really nice Seder last Saturday and it was outside. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, everybody who worked hard to make it happen. So unless it's hideously hot, right? That's always a problem. But if we do have a dinner, it'll probably be like at 5:30 and the service will be at 7, something like that. So we don't have to eat in the dark. We can do the service in the dark, but not eat. Okay. I also want to thank Jory and Morris. I wish they would consider changing careers. I don't want to prejudice our Cantor Search Committee, but it would be very nice to have you guys. I also want to thank our tech people back there. So we have Asher, Noah, and Andrea. Can you switch the camera around so we can see you, and thank you for, we see Noah and Andrea, Asher. There he is. Okay, great. Nice job. Nice job. We're still working on a few glitches, you know, sound, whatever. It's a very complicated soundboard. So one day we'll get it right. It's only been a little while since we've had this equipment. They're doing well. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Okay. We do want to encourage people to come back in person. It's very cozy here. We've redone the sanctuary. Yeah. Can you show us how cozy it is? We redid the chairs. We have them in a set. See, look at that. Look how cozy. Okay. Yes. Everybody's very happy here. And it's nice to be back in person. And we have onegs again. So if you come, you get an oneg. You get something nice to eat. Okay. So please try to come back. I realize that for some people it's hard, and that's cool. That's cool. That's why we have hybrid or multi-access. I think the preferred term is multi-access. Yeah. All right, we're going to continue with the Aleinu. And since we have our wonderful Mauricio and Maria back, would you like to come over and open the ark for the Aleinu, which is on the inside cover of your prayer book, theoretically, and we rise.
Aleinu leshalayach ladon hakol, latet gudela leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, vanachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlach, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim veYosed Aretz, Umoshev Yekaro b'Shamayim mima'al, Ushhina tuzo, Begov Meromim, Hu Eloheinu Einod, Emet Malkeinu Efesulato, Kakatu Betorato, Vedata Hayom v'hashevota elevavecha, ki Adonai hua Elohim b'shamayim mimal ve'al haaretz mitachat einod kakatuv betoratecha Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad ushemo echad.
We take a moment now to think of those who are no longer with us. Oh. I think it's pretty well. Yeah. That's what happened. The doors stay closed. Yeah, the leaning tower of the ark. Okay, no, I think it's fine. It's been, yeah. That door never closed properly. So. No, if you push it too hard, then it opens. You got to be like very precise. So we're going to take a moment now to think of those who are no longer with us. May their memories be for a blessing. We're observing Shiva for Stephen Lux, who's the brother of Elliot Lux, and for Fern Shanklin. And we're observing Shloshim for Ruth Landis, Rick Landis's mother, and for Rachel Frankel, sister of Lorraine Alberga. Is anyone else here in Shiva Shloshim or the first year of mourning would like to mention a name? And anybody, let's see. Okay, first 30 days, Josephine Kruk Sands, first year, Elena Archibek Ferris, Stan Walkman and Joanne Heslin, first year. Edith Tanazaki, first year. And we're observing yahrzeits for Peter Liepman, Donald Lester, Ellen Klieger, Adele Lucas, Marion Edwards, Bernard Siegel, Rebecca Nagorski, Arthur Youngerman, Erwin Lux, Edward P. Tick, Zvi Barlev, Herschel Wallace, Werner Kopel, Sigmund Cohn, Sophie Singer, Sarah Rebecca Winger, Ruth Clark, Minnie Nedler, Harry Sherman, Sadie Ziegler. Is anyone else here observing a yahrzeit? Willie Davis, first year. Any other yahrzeits? We think, of course, of those who perished in the Holocaust and have no one to say the mourner's cottage for them. Please join me, and if you're on Zoom, please feel free to unmute. Page 598 and 294. And we rise. Yikadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah. Be'alma divra chehutei v'yamlich mahutei. B'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei lechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zman kariv imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Hey shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Huya aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. As together we say, Amen. And our closing song for Passover is Dayenu, which is also on your song sheet.
If we'd have just done this just one song only, it would have been sufficient. Oh, wait, that's the Motzi, isn't it? Oh, is it? Hilu hotzi anu mi Mitzrayim dayenu. Everybody, dayenu, 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 dayenu. Inu natan lanu et hashabat, natan lanu et hashabat dayenu, 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 dayenu. Ilu natan lanu et haTorah, natan lanu et haTorah dayenu, 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 dayenu.
Special double motzi for a matzah.
We can do the regular one.
It's gonna make a mess.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat matzah. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
So people on Zoom, if you want to stay and chat, please feel free to do so. And Shabbat shalom to everybody. And Chag Sameach.
Hey. Oh, wait a minute, they're talking about.
Hello, friends.